Angela Pavarnik recently made a bombshell discovery on Jersey Shore. It turns out that the man she grew up believing was her biological father isn't actually related to her at all. And the truth about her real dad is seriously crazy. You'll never believe the bizarre story about him. During one of the latest episodes of Jersey Shore Family Vacation, Angela decided to take a 23andMe DNA test. There had been so much uncertainty about whether or not her father was really her father ever since her mom made a really suspicious comment.
She said, your father might not be your father.
Angela's mom tried to play it off like her remark wasn't a big deal, but that made Angela realize that she needed to find out the truth.
She's like, I'm just kidding. And I said, Mom, I'm gonna do the 23andMe. She's like, why would you do that? I'm like, because I'm gonna do it.
One of Angela's sisters, Alyssa, had previously taken a 23andMe DNA test, so Angela decided to try it out for herself. But 3 weeks after she submitted her cheek swab to the company, her world was totally turned upside down. Once she received her results, she had Alyssa log in as well to try to link their family trees. Angela had grown up believing that she and her sister shared the same biological mother and father, so what happened next came as a complete shock.
She logs into it and it links us, but when it links us, it says half sister.
Angela immediately knew what that meant. She, Alyssa, and Amanda shared the same mom, but her biological dad wasn't hers. Needless to say, she was full of questions and absolutely stunned. Angela's results didn't pinpoint who her real father was, but it did give her some hints by revealing her ethnicity, which was seriously surprising.
Portuguese, 28% British.
Angela knew that she wasn't even close to uncovering the full truth about her biological dad, but learning that the guy she thought was her father for 36 years wasn't actually her father was clearly a lot to process.
Okay, and how do you feel about that?
Blindsiding is an understatement.
Angela felt like she'd been lied to her entire life, which was honestly kind of understandable. Her mom had obviously known that her daughter's true paternity was uncertain all along. Why else would she have said that Angela's father might not be her father?
Hurtful. It's very hurtful. I don't really trust people anymore.
Angela was so emotionally overwhelmed. I mean, she had already had doubts about how she truly fit into her family. However, the discovery also gave her some answers about her difficult childhood.
I always knew something was weird about our relationship and the way he would treat my other two sisters, but like I never knew why.
She finally had some type of closure about the troubled relationship she had with a man she thought was her dad. But when you spoke to her sister Amanda about how that really made her feel, she was clearly devastated.
Makes sense now. I never had like that love from a father figure, and I always wondered why.
It definitely wasn't easy for Angelina to come to terms with everything she just learned, especially because she still had no idea who her actual father was. But a few months earlier, Mike had been contacted by someone truly unexpected. After the episode where Angela mentioned her mother's strange comment first aired earlier this year, Mike received an interesting message on Instagram. It turns out that a genealogist named Pamela Slayton had reached out to him and made an unbelievable offer. Pamela had asked Mike if she could help Angelina find answers about her real dad. At that point, he only told Vinny about Paula's message, but he knew that without the truth about her biological father, Angelina would continue to feel absolutely lost. Vinny and Mike looked Pamela up online and discovered that she had successfully reunited many people with their birth families. Ultimately, Mike knew what he had to do. He called Pamela, and they ended up coming up with an extraordinary plan. Pamela agreed to meet Mike at his house later that week to figure out the next steps. We'll have to wait for the next episode to see what happens when they actually meet up, but when Mike told Angela that he wanted to help find her real dad, she seemed very grateful.
I would appreciate that.
Okay.
At this point, I'm going to take all the help I can get with finding my real dad.
Although we don't know what happened with Mike and Pamela's investigation yet, Angelina did share an incredible update at the end of June. On her 37th birthday, she posted a mind-blowing photo to her Instagram story. Believe it or not, Angela's photo showed her smiling and standing next to a man who was apparently her biological father. She didn't give any other information about him or their relationship, but I have a feeling that we'll learn more in a future episode. However, Angela's most recent update wasn't so positive. After the episode about her DNA results aired, she posted a photo of herself crying with a seriously sad caption. Angelina wrote that her entire ordeal surrounding the results and what that meant about her identity had left her crushed. She also claimed that certain people who had put her through pain for so long were trying to force her to stay silent. She didn't explain who those people were, but there's a good chance she was referring to her mom and the man she believed was her father. After all, she had a rocky relationship relationship with them for years. They weren't even invited to her wedding, and the reasoning for excluding them from her big day was honestly heartbreaking. Angela didn't communicate with her mom or the man she thought was her real dad very often at all. And when she and her now ex-husband Chris were engaged and planning their wedding, that didn't really change.
I met my father. He still hasn't met my father.
That's extremely telling since Chris and Angelina were dating for almost 3.5 years before they got married. But based on what Angelina previously said about the guy she thought was her dad, there was a valid reason why he hadn't met Chris. Apparently, he had always been a very toxic person in her life.
I didn't have a good relationship. My father was a cheater. He was an abusive father. He was never a father to me growing up as a kid.
She also revealed that he had met her mom in court when he was facing a lot of jail time. He had allegedly told Angelina that the only reason he had her was to try to convince the judge to give him a lesser jail sentence. At the time, Angelina's shoremates were blown away by her tragic revelation. JWoww admitted that she had no clue that Angelina's childhood had been so rough, but she also claimed that learning about it had helped her understand why Angelina struggled with codependency issues. JWoww also confessed that she regretted judging Angelina so much before she knew the truth about her troublesome upbringing. I have to admit, the problems that we've seen in Angelina's relationships throughout the show do make a little more sense now. It's terrible that the man Angelina had thought was her father had not only lied to her, but had told her something so damaging. It's no wonder she's had relationship troubles over the years, considering she believed she wasn't really wanted from the very beginning. But as awful as that is, the impact that he had on the rest of her life was just as hurtful.
Alone.
Abandonment issues is a big thing for me.
My father, he abandoned me when I was a kid.
It sounds like he wasn't always present because he wasn't exactly committed to being a father or a faithful husband. But he was also in and out of jail a lot and was actually behind bars when Angelina was born. And considering what she said about him treating her differently than her sisters, he didn't hide how he felt about her at all. It sounds like he was just downright cold toward her simply because she wasn't his biological daughter. Angelina obviously didn't have a great relationship with him before the DNA results proved that he wasn't actually her father. But it'll be interesting to see if she ended up cutting him out of her life completely or not. We'll also have to wait and see exactly how Angelina managed to find her real dad, and if Pamela had actually been the person to connect them. Judging from the photo she posted on her birthday, she seemed over the moon to have him around. Hopefully, she's been able to start healing from the shocking realization that she'd been lied to her entire life about who her actual father was. But anyway, now that we've gone into Angelina's bizarre discovery about her real dad, I'm curious. What do you guys think this will mean for her relationships with her mom, as well as the man she believed was her father for so many years? What are your thoughts on Mike getting so involved to help Angelina find her biological dad? Let me know in the comments below.